The Myrtles Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana, stands as a paradox, a place of breathtaking beauty cloaked in shadows of unspeakable horror. Its pristine gardens and grand oak trees draped in veils of Spanish moss seem to whisper secrets of a dark past. Beneath the picturesque facade lies a history marred by pain, betrayal, and death. Legends of curses and restless spirits have clung to this plantation for centuries, turning it into one of the most haunted locations in America. But the truth behind the Myrtles is far more chilling than the stories suggest. It is a tale of tragedy and vengeance, of a house that holds on to its ghosts and refuses to let go. The origins of the plantation's haunting can be traced back to the late 18th century, when General David Bradford, a man fleeing charges of treason, sought refuge in the remote wilderness of Louisiana. He built the plantation as his sanctuary, naming it Laurel Grove. But even from its earliest days, misfortune seemed to follow those who lived there. Bradford's desperate flight from justice cast a shadow over the property, one that would only grow darker with time. After his death, the plantation passed to his daughter and her husband, Clark Woodruff, and it was under their stewardship that the most infamous chapter of the Myrtles' history unfolded. The story begins with Chloe, an enslaved woman who worked in the Woodruff household. Chloe's life, like so many others, was one of oppression and fear, dictated by the whims of her owners. She was said to have been forced into a relationship with Clark Woodruff, a man of power and privilege who saw her as little more than property. For Chloe, survival meant submission, but it did not mean silence. She listened carefully, eavesdropping on the conversations of her captors, hoping to glean information that might one day help her escape her servitude. But her curiosity proved to be her undoing. When Clark discovered her listening to one of his private discussions, his reaction was swift and brutal. As punishment, he ordered her ear to be cut off. The pain and humiliation of the act were seared into Chloe's memory, and from that day forward, she wore a green turban to conceal the scar. Yet, beneath the surface of her quiet compliance, a storm of anger and desperation brewed. Chloe began to plot her revenge, a plan born not of malice, but of a desire to regain control over her life, to shift the balance of power in her favor. What she didn't know was that her actions would unleash a curse that would haunt the Myrtles forever. The details of what happened next are shrouded in mystery, distorted by years of retelling. According to legend, Chloe baked a cake laced with poison, intending to make the Woodruff family ill. Some say her goal was to nurse them back to health, hoping to earn their trust and secure her position in the household. Others believe her intentions were far darker. Whatever her plan, the results were catastrophic. Sarah Woodruff and her 2 young daughters ate the cake and fell gravely ill. Within hours, they were dead. Chloe, horrified by the consequences of her actions, turned to the other enslaved workers for help, but they knew the price of protecting her would be their own lives. In a desperate bid to save themselves, they turned Chloe over to Clark Woodruff. He ordered her to be hanged, her body discarded in the Mississippi River as if she had never existed. But Chloe's death was not the end of her story. In fact, it was only the beginning. Her spirit, restless and vengeful, is said to have remained at the plantation, bound to the place where her life had been stolen. Visitors and residents alike began to report sightings of a woman in a green turban, her figure appearing in windows and doorways, her presence marked by an overwhelming sense of sorrow and anger. Chloe's ghost became the most well-known of the Myrtles' many apparitions, but she was not alone. The plantation's history is littered with tales of violence and death, each one adding another layer to its haunted legacy. During the Civil War, Union soldiers were reportedly killed in the house, their blood soaking into the floorboards. Guests have claimed to hear the sound of gunshots echoing through the halls, followed by the anguished cries of the dying. In another chilling story, a young girl is said to have died of yellow fever within the plantation's walls. Her small figure has been seen wandering the grounds, her presence felt in the faint sound of a child's laughter that turns to sobs. One of the most unsettling phenomena associated with the Myrtles is a mirror that hangs in the main hallway. Visitors have reported seeing faces in the glass, faces that do not belong to anyone in the room. Handprints appear on the surface, smudges that cannot be wiped away no matter how much the mirror is cleaned. Some believe the mirror holds the spirits of Sarah Woodruff and her daughters, trapped there by the violent energy of their deaths. Their reflections, forever etched into the glass, are a haunting reminder of the plantation's dark history. As the years passed, the Myrtles Plantation became a magnet for those drawn to the supernatural. Paranormal investigators, historians, and thrill-seekers flocked to the site, each one hoping to uncover the truth behind its reputation. Some left with stories of their own, accounts of objects moving on their own, disembodied voices, and an oppressive sense of being watched. Others captured photographs with strange, shadowy figures lurking in the background, figures that defied explanation. Despite its haunted reputation, the Myrtles remains a place of striking beauty. Its grandeur, a stark contrast to the horrors that occurred there. But for those who know its history, the beauty is tinged with sadness, the serenity and illusion masking the pain and suffering that permeates the property. The spirits that roam its halls are not just ghosts. They are the echoes of lives cut short, of dreams shattered, and hopes extinguished. They are a reminder of the darkness that can exist even in the most idyllic of settings. Today, the Myrtles Plantation operates as a bed and breakfast, inviting guests to stay and experience its history firsthand. Some come out of curiosity, others seeking a brush with the supernatural. Many leave with stories of their own, accounts of strange occurrences that defy logic and reason. The Myrtles is more than just a haunted house. It is a living testament to the tragedies of the past, a place where the veil between the living and the dead is thin, and the echoes of history refuse to fade. The story of Chloe and the other restless spirits of the Myrtles Plantation is a chilling reminder that some places are forever marked by the events that transpired within them, their secrets whispered on the wind and carried through time.